This review contains no spoilers. Hey guys, welcome back to Fiction Friday, and I'm AJ Farisi, and this week I'm going to be reviewing A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, a literary classic. Now, this book my copy looks a little bit beat up. Not extremely beat up, but it is a little bit beat up because this is my in-transit novel. And my in-transit novel is when I leave the house and I'm on the bus, I'm on the train, I'm at school, at work, anywhere I'm outside of the house, I take a book with me. And that differs from like last week's episode of The Winter Girl, where that's pretty much at home. But connecting to The Winter Girl, this book takes place in Brooklyn, whereas last week the author is just from Brooklyn and he does have some scenes referencing Park Slope. This book is all in the Williamsburg, Greenpoint area of Brooklyn, which is considered old Brooklyn. Now, part of it, will take place in other parts of the city, but for the most part it is Brooklyn. I mean, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. But this book is considered a bildungsroman. That's one word I have a really bad time pronouncing. Excuse me. And it's a bildungsroman is a novel that refers to the formative years or spiritual education. Now, there's a number of different terms for this, but that's pretty much the base definition, and that is everything that this book is, because it's about Frances Mary Nolan, or as she goes by the book, Francie Nolan, and her Irish-American family living in the Williamsburg, Greenpoint area of Brooklyn. Now, it starts with her in the fire escapes, and she's looking down at the tree, but then it shoots backwards, and it gives you the story of her parents meeting, like her the parents' family. You could almost say that this is a little bit like an ethnography, which is a book about an anthropological aspect book about a certain culture, which this is pretty much about the impoverished Irish-American families up in the Williamsburg, Greenpoint area of Brooklyn. But it goes from her family, her mother's family, and then it shows the mother and father meeting, and then it goes through the birth of Francie, and it goes through her whole life. And it starts a little bit slow. This book does start a little bit slow, so this book did take me a while to read. I put it down for a while, picked it back up, and then just ran with the rest of it, because as the book goes on, it starts to build more into her life, and it's pretty much a breakdown of almost her day-by-day life up until she's about 18, 20. So as it is, it's a true bildungsroman throughout the whole thing, where it's talking about her formative years. It talks about her going to school. It talks about her relationship with her father, which the relationship with her father is huge throughout the whole book. It shows how the father, Johnny Nolan, how he influenced a lot of the decisions of the family up until about midway of the book, and then it kind of, when Francie grows older, she kind of gets her own feet, which isn't much of a spoiler, I promise. This review, as all, will be completely spoiler-free. But the tone of the book shifts throughout the whole novel. You'll get the lighthearted comedy where, the family play. It's very familiar. But also, then there'll be their darker times. It's literally the life of a family, and you feel it in this book. And the descriptions of settings help influence some of the scenes and the tones and the moods. And again, unlike some other books that paint very much detail, you get a bit of an old movie style sense with this book, and I mean rightfully so. It does take place in the 1910s, but overall the settings are very accurate for what Williamsburg Greenpoint looked at this time. I mean, pretty much she wrote this in the 40s, and you could almost say that Betty Smith wrote this novel almost as an autobiographical piece. In the back of the book, they do provide a little bit of not an autobiography, but a biography of the author, and you get a sense of that this might have been a bit of her life that she's telling you. It goes through Francie Nolan's everyday thoughts, too. You get to see how this character grows up. You get to learn how this little girl learned and what she saw, and I think that's a fantastic way. Now, what do I give this book as a rating? I give it a 3.5. The settings are really great. The characterization, each character has their own personality, and it's like you probably have met a character like this at some sort, even though this book is taking place back in the 1910s, you do get a sense of, these characters aren't, foreign to us. They're not, these characters were back then, they're like that back then. No, I mean, even though it's within the past 100 years, it's still, most of these characters are very prevalent in today's society. And I think we do all know with Johnny Nolan, who, pretty much in the first chapter, you get the sense that he is a drunk through most of the time, so he comes to a drink, but he works hard. The guy who has his drinks, enjoys his drinks, but he will work hard for his family. The mother who busts her back for the family, the daughter and the son who, they're really close because they have nothing else to do. They just love being together, and you do get a sense of, the other brother, Neely, as well. I think his name is Cornelius. So, but they shortened it to Neely because it's a little bit easier to say. I think there's a whole chapter on that as well. But every chapter in this book is pretty much a different segment. So it's not day by day almost, but each chapter is pretty much day by day. Like within the chapter. Every chapter, though, is a different period. Like it'll go from sometime in the summer, and then it'll jump over like the Christmas season, which there are a couple Christmas scenes that I think are very heartwarming, especially as showing the camaraderie between brother and sister, and sometimes even the community, how the community all helps each other together. That's a big theme in this book, the community and community helping, communal help. I don't think you ever see a time where the community, well, there is a couple, but I'm not going to explain that. You guys read that and you tell me what you think. But that theme of communal help, very big here, of standing on your own at the same time while you have your communal help, standing on your own and learning, education, those formative years of growing up, very big part. Memories, songs, all of that is incorporated in this book. Johnny sings all the time. He's a singer. That's no surprise. But he's a singer, so he comes home and he's singing some Irish song, and from the way they describe it, you could almost pretty much hear how beautiful he sings. That's a big part, like poetry and songwriting, that music is a big theme in this book. I think some of them also have like some inferences for later on in the book when they describe certain scenes. But as I was saying, overall, this book is a 3.5 stars. The characters are multifaceted and pretty prevalent to today's life. The themes also very connected to our lives as well. You can see it in many communities where, our community all pulls together to help each other. I think especially in times of need, if there's one family that needs the help the most, I think we can all, say that there is a family that will, that does help out. Showing the formative years. Reason why I give it 3.5 stars is it's a little bit slow. So you do get, it might take a little while to get through the first couple chapters, maybe the first book even, until you move on, and then it's a pretty fast-paced book after that. And I think it's extremely intriguing. It's not on my favorites list, but it's definitely a runner-up for, on like the books I would definitely reread again. This book, extremely well, a classic. Now this isn't one of those classics that everyone says they've read. I think it's extremely well written. It's, like I said, it's a classic. You could pick this book up anywhere. There's many different editions of this book. That the same cover that I have, very much different from probably another cover you have, but definitely recommend Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. Hey guys, just wanted to give you guys another announcement about my book, Through the Border Gates. Very soon I am going to do the reading of the first chapter and the synopsis, so you guys get a little bit of both. So you're going to get what this book is about, and you're going to get pretty much the first chapter. I will be trying to release the first chapter online as well. I just want to make sure I can before I do. But remember, the cover release is going to be for November 4th. So if you haven't already, follow the Facebook page and the website, and I will have a true event posted where you can follow the event so you know exactly when I go to release the cover of my novel, Through the Border Gates. The ebook will be released sometime in December, and the hardcover copy should be published sometime maybe near the end of January. I still have some details to find out, and when I know, you guys will definitely know as well. So please enjoy, and don't forget to follow the Facebook page and the website to find out more information about Through the Border Gates and other projects coming up soon. Thank you.